People who speak English as a second language, what phrases or concepts from your native tongue you want to use in English but can't because locals wouldn't understand. I am a native Czech speaker. In a lot of Slavic languages, there's such a thing as softening a word, which exaggerates that the thing is either very small or weak. Example, kul equals a ball, kuliska equals a marble. In Italian we have two different ways of saying I love you. One is ti voglio bene, it's that kind of profound affection you have for family or for friends. Then we have ti amo, and you only use it for your partner when you feel you're really in love with them. In Turkish there is kolay gelsin, which roughly translates to have an easy job, said to people who are working on a job, task, shift or studying something. It's a great phrase to use at the end of the conversation, to wrap up. I'm Romanian, currently living in the UK. Something I noticed would be how there isn't a phrase for wishing someone to have a pleasant meal when they tell you they are about to eat or that they are eating. We say pofta bună, which I think it's the equivalent of the French bon appétit. When my coworkers go for lunch I would say stuff like enjoy your meal, and often they would look funny at me and be like okay, thanks, I guess, thinking I'm sarcastic when I'm not. Edit, hope I got the French spelling correct now. And as a little side note, I read some people pointing out how saying that might be formal or to be expected from a waiter at a restaurant or in a professional setting, rather than the colloquial version of how I'm thinking of or want it to come out as. For instance, your friend says he's about to go to lunch, you wish him pofta bună. You just got home and your parents are having dinner, you tell them pofta bună. Your waiter brought you food, he tells you pofta bună. You see your teacher on a food break, you can tell him pofta bună. It's universal regardless of who is eating, it's important that they are and you wish they'll have a good appetite and they enjoy their food. And I think the banality of it, and not having something of equal value in English is what I'm missing. It's like saying bless you after someone sneezes, or cheers before a drink, but for food, smiley face. In Dutch we have a handy word called beterschap. It's just, is someone feeling sick, ill or in any way hurt, you can use this. It kind of means, get better soon, and, best of luck with what you're dealing with, at once. Gezellig, in Dutch has a lot of different meanings. Like a room can be gezellig. In English it would be cozy, I guess, but when you have a good time with friends it can also be gezellig, and then cozy is not the good word for it. Also a person, him, herself can be gezellig, and in English it would be a nice person. Edit, said something twice. Edit again, spelling. Many languages have a lot more swear words, and a lot more creative ways to avoid swearing in front of kids. It's kind of like a fun minigame. In Omani Arabic we use the word te tayyibak. It means, your actions, what you said lead me to be confused on your intention. The Finnish word, kalsarikanit, because I enjoy taking the occasional beer and hate being around people. From Urban Dictionary, drinking by yourself at your house in your underwear with no intention of going out. And for literal translation, kalsarit equals underpants, or long johns, kanit equals being drunk, getting wasted. Edit, clarified translation, and thanks for my first awards. Maybe I will do a kalsarikani tonight. In Argentina, and possibly other Spanish-speaking countries, they say, se me fu la mano, which literally translates into my hand left me. You might use it when you overdo something like adding too much of an ingredient to a recipe. Soup too salty? Se me fu la mano con la sal. The concept of filatimo. It encompasses a lot of different personality traits, so it can't really be translated directly. It describes someone who's honorable and hardworking and kind, often expecting no reward for his help yet going above and beyond what's expected of him. It's a good word. One we, Danish, use a lot is bjørnetjeneste, the bear's favor, which means to do something with good intentions but it having fucking horrible consequences. I just notice the concept's absence a lot, because acknowledging good and bad in one word cuts down on a lot of moral argument back and forth. It's technically based on an old Greek or Persian fable. It's about a bear and his gardener friend chilling until a bee landed on the gardener's face. The bear wanted to do the man a favor and swat the bee away, but being a bear, tore off his face. He had good intention, but now the gardener has no face. Edit. The road to hell is paved with good intentions is not quite what I mean, it's a reflective saying that's used during the said ensuring moral argument, whereas this is the name of the act itself. I'll acknowledge it up here, so if you want to reply with that, it has been mentioned, please stop spamming my inbox. Edit 2. No deed goes unpunished is very different and I don't like it, it's horribly cynic in nature. It's a defeatist sentiment, like damned if you do, damned if you don't, you will be punished, so there's no need to think. A bear's favor has no relation to being punished or not, it's about the harm you cause others. A bear's favor is one fuck up, a more gentle reminder that this time you thought out your ass and not your ears, so you should be more cautious and mindful in the future with your help, but not a resigned eternal rule of cosmic punishment. In Germany there's this cool word called Doc. It's used like this, instead of yes, I am, you aren't smart, yes, I am, it's just way shorter because it's just one word. I need that. In Swedish it a word called fika, it mean go and get something to eat like a snack or a drink. It like wanna get some coffee. Just fika is more open to what you want. And I don't like coffee, so this line does not work for me. Edit. Wow, this exploded over a few hours. I find it funny when I hear one of our word can be vulgar in another language. It like I remember laughing as a child, when leering the word, kiss, English meaning, kissing, was in my language, kiss, mean pee, in Swedish. Did not help when I heard when, a kid, there was a rock band were named Kiss. And sorry for bad grammar. Thanks for reading XD. For anyone wondering about this concept generally, this is something in pragmatics that is probably best defined as a pragmatic gap in a language. Basically, as native speakers of a language, we understand what the lexical items in that language mean. We form a mental model of every lexical item in our head in what exactly that word represents. When we communicate a definition of a word to someone, we communicate its definition, but there is still something missing from that definition that can only be represented in the mental model we've developed. If someone has spent their entire life dealing with wolf hybrids as dogs in their home, their understanding of what a dog is, and their mental model of a dog, is different from someone who may have never interacted with a wolf hybrid. They say to their friend, hey, just remember I have dogs. When we get to the house, their friend arrives and goes, what the fuck, that's not a dog. This is a pragmatic difference in our understanding of what a word means. Basically, a pragmatic gap is when there is a model in your head for some concept, but there is not a lexical item in your language inventory to describe this concept. Many times, people when doing what this thread is asking will run into an issue where they translate a word from one language into another language, but they don't feel like the translation is sufficient. Cute _ murderous _ succc does exactly this in his post, and GT, in Dutch we have a handy word called beterschap. It's just, is someone feeling sick, ill or in any way hurt, you can use this. It kind of means, get better soon, and best of luck with what you're dealing with, at once. They've got this model, they know their word in Dutch, but when it comes to English the words in English don't really represent the model fully. Pragmatic gaps are interesting because it really goes to show that language is this limited tool in representing what's going on in our heads. Anyways, thought you guys might like the information. Source, currently going to get my MA in linguistics, specifically interested in pragmatics in discourse. As someone who grew up speaking both Dutch and French, it always blows my mind when I realize that the English language doesn't have a specific word for the day after tomorrow. An amp, #X200B. Edit. I see quite some people are suggesting overmorrow. I'm not sure how common it is, since in all the English films and series I've watched, I didn't encounter it once. And a few weeks ago I tried to use this word on an English writing test, but it got marked as a too literal translation by my teacher. An amp, #X200B. For those confused, since the French word would be après-demain, I believe that this word is way easier and faster to say, but that may be because I've used it my whole life. Just found out that n'importe quoi don't have an English equivalent. It's super used in French, literal translation would be anything, but it has different meaning depending on the context. Tu fais n'importe quoi, you're doing things wrong. Say an import quoi. That doesn't make any sense. This is bullshit. Mais an import quoi. What a bunch of bullshit. Fait quelque chose, an import quoi. Do something, whatever it is. ITT. Slavic languages complaining about the lack of swear words in English. Tanto pido para cagar aguado. It translates, loosely, to, so much farting for such soft, watery shit, slang way of saying, all this fuss for nothing. One of my English teachers in Sweden had an English, or American, husband. They spoke English to each other, but added the word, orka, from Swedish, meaning, to have the strength or energy for something. It can be used when talking about physical strength or endurance. Can you help me with the bag? I don't orca carry it, but more often, it's used in contexts where English speakers would say they can't be arsed, bothered to do something, even if the Swedish word doesn't imply that the task is unimportant, just that you lack the energy for it. I don't orca do my taxes tonight. Additionally, about 20 years ago, a slangy, ironic meaning of the word appeared among teenagers, in which the word orca by itself can mean who has the energy for that, or I can't be bothered to do whatever it is. In English, you refer to a guy's bits as balls. We call them eggs, which makes for many jokes involving cracking and scrambling them. Like, you'd better wear your jock strap if you don't want your eggs getting scrambled. I really miss the word pizdek when talking in English, because there's nothing quite like it to express your deepest feeling of being doomed or something being fucked up beyond any repair. Not me, but my high school Spanish teacher. He's from Spain and kept using phrases that I'm not sure whether he translated from Spanish or just made up. Don't remember all of them, but my favorites were EHHH, right highway, wrong gas station, and you are as lost as an octopus in a garage. But like, all in a really endearing Spanish accent. God, I miss Mr. Vandermeer. In Italy we use the word boh, which means I don't know, but it's more of a slang, cause we have the literal translation of I don't know. Non so. The word boh is more a sound than actually a word. But it has different interpretations, so it can mean also something else, not a lot different from the meaning above. It all depends on how you say it. Edit, asterisk asterisk my sister just used it with me to express something else other than, don't know, asterisk asterisk, this is how the conversation went. I was like, thanks for not telling me. And she said, I asked you to come with me, asterisk bow asterisk, the bow here means like, what are you even saying, that doesn't make sense, you are stupid. It shows confusion, perplexion, on what I did, said. Peas, I was referring to another thing which she didn't tell me, aha. In Romanian there are so many swears, lots and lots of unique swear words, that just sound awkward in English. For example, futu ti morti matzi, which roughly translates to fuck your mother's dead relatives. And amp, #x200b. Also we have a greeting for when it's nighttime, and I haven't been able to find a English equivalent. Edit, well this is my most upvoted comment, my mom would be so proud, not. In Brazilian Portuguese we always say, teucu, that means, your asshole. It can be used as an answer to almost everything and it is extremely disrespectful. Teenagers always use among friends, generally teenager or young adults, but old people find it repulsive. I would love this expression to make sense in other languages but it unfortunately doesn't, sad face. In Portuguese, and of course other Latin languages, there's two different words for to be. Esser means a permanent, to be, such as I am a man, while estar means a temporary situation, such as I am at school. Now this is interesting because there's a lot of subtlety for which one of the two you choose to use. For example, to be sick tells you nothing about how long I've been, will remain sick. But using these two different words in Portuguese, you can say estou doente from estar, which means I'm currently sick because I have an infection, or sou doente from esser, which means I'm sick because I have a chronic illness that won't allow me to work and will never get better, I'm handicapped. This comes up all the time in English, where you have to use some additional explanation without any beauty in your speech. It's such an important concept that I'm always amazed how the English language doesn't have it, as it basically mixes location and temporary situations with permanent characteristics of a person, object. Another example, in English, you're beautiful. Does that mean the person is beautiful because it used some makeup or put on some nice clothes, or is the person beautiful regardless of the current setting? Very confusing. Provecho. In Mexico, we usually say that when someone is eating but you aren't. I don't even think the concept exists in English.